SuperTalk Mississippi media production. Pike County, here comes your morning show. Dave in the morning on 93.5 FM, SuperTalk Mississippi.
So now, understand, you're not going to dictate to me what I do and what I don't do, but I'm still the mayor, Mr. Brown.
Bloody angle, the symmetry. Your cheap and hazel isn't holding me. My mouth is a gun I can shoot. I can show you the truth. No pun intended, no punishment. If I offended you, you needed it. Ideas are the bones in your mind. A fisher in time. If you don't have a weapon, you can't have mine.
None of this meeting is recorded. None by any parties. Correct?
No, sir, mine is recorded. I'm being accused.
Any conversation.
Said I want to make it on record. I want the allegations in writing, party accused, party on recording of this harassment.
I'm not afraid. I'm getting into grievances again. I'm down to absolute zero. I'm not the devil, but I won't be your hero.
And now, here's your host, Dave Hughes.
Good morning to you. How you doing? Tuesday morning, we've got Monday behind us, and we are not upset about that. Not even a little bit. I still say we should, well, it's kind of a catch-22. We should eliminate Mondays completely. Just do away with that day of the week. But then Tuesday becomes Monday. So eventually you just wind up sitting at the house all week, every week. And that sounds great. But I will bet you money after a week or two you would be bored out of your mind. So we might as well just leave it like it is. I do hope you're having a wonderful day. I would like to give you some good news in that today is the last day with a high temperature over 90 for a while. By tomorrow, the high will be 85. Thursday, it's going to be 80. 80. Friday, 82. Saturday, 84. Sunday, 86. Monday, 85. I'm still going to be pessimistic enough to say that it's false fall number 2 for the year. I don't want to believe we're going into this and it's just going to stay there. Is it November? No. So I'm not buying it quite yet. However, we can enjoy it while it's happening. Before we get into the hurricane situation and what, if any, effects it's going to have on us, spoilers, not much, do have a piece of information to pass along that's going on this morning. The folks at Dexter High School, well, they had a bomb threat called in this morning. So they're dealing with that. Now, we can, let's go ahead and talk about this for just a minute because I think we need to. Holy cow, Mose, the girl from Ipanema. What, you digging way down deep in the old archives, aren't you there, buddy? Haven't heard that in forever. I can't listen to it right now, but I will later. We have seen this. We've had interviews on the network for weeks now about the uptick in school shooting threats, bomb threats, all of that kind of stuff. And a lot of this is copycat behavior. It's driven because one person does something, and then a bunch of little knuckleheads, what Rush Limbaugh used to call young skulls full of mush, go, oh, that's a good idea. We could get the day off from school. Well, you could get several days off from school because when they catch you, and they will catch you, you get to go to jail. But they don't think that far ahead. They literally do not understand cause and effect. They do not understand, if I do this, it's going to have bad consequences. And I say that, this is my opinion, obviously, but I say that the increase, the explosion of, if you will, of threats made to schools, just get a phone call, get a post online, social media somewhere. I think that is very much a sign of, well, I got to be careful how I put this, because I'm not going to say what I want to say, which involves the word stupidity. I'm not going to go there. But what I am going to say is this. I was reading an article last night that companies across the country, it's not here, everywhere, are firing Gen Z workers, fresh college graduates, at a ridiculous rate, just letting them go. Why? Well, because they don't know how to be professional. They don't know how to work on their own, get the job done because it needs to get done, not because someone's hovering over you, telling you to keep going. You're almost there. You almost got it, buddy. They aren't professional. And these are the results from a survey given to business owners around the country. And when I say letting a lot of them go, we're talking like 75%. Now, one thing that shows is that four-year universities, because they're all college graduates, four-year universities are not teaching life skills, which has been a conversation for a while, and I think it's backed up, just looking at the results. But that affects everybody and everything, because that becomes the prevalent attitude amongst an entire generation. We thought Gen X was the whatever generation. Ha! Ah! No, not even close. The issue is not going to go away soon, but we have to deal with it. And this, to me, is a branching out of that attitude, of that mindset from the young people. Not all of them, certainly. Of course, there are no absolutes. But a decent percentage of them, number one, can't conceive of any bad things happening to them based on their actions that won't be taken care of for them. It's not my problem. They just can't connect those dots. Also, it's not hedonism, but it's along those same lines. The generations in that age bracket statistically seem to behaviorally exhibit a rather lackadaisical attitude towards serious things. I go back to this calling in of threats. Previous generations didn't do this. Again, that's just a fact. Previous generations didn't threaten to do something at the school. Heck, not that long ago, in my lifetime, here in the South especially, kids were showing up to school in high school driving their pickup truck with their hunting rifle on the rack in the back, and they park it in the parking lot, and everybody goes, "That's a nice looking gun. Did you go this morning? Did you kill anything? Did you take anything?" And now the tighter we clamp down, because we have to, the worse it gets. The freedom to choose, the freedom to live your life, the freedom to have some agency in your life as a human being also comes with it an enormous responsibility, and I don't think that has been instilled in a lot of young people. Because the freedom to make your own choices and do your own things comes with the responsibility of doing the things, of following the rules. Don't misunderstand me. Breaking some rules, it's a great way to get ahead in life. If everybody else is... A perfect example, Elon Musk and SpaceX. Their big Starship project that they're going to launch to Mars, they made it out of stainless steel sheets. No fancy advanced carbon fiber. Everybody told him, well, no, you can't do that. And he said, watch me. So he knew the rules, but he, as a result, knew which ones to break. We are not teaching the rules, and the way that happens is we're not teaching proper consequences for the rules, for breaking the rules, for violating what should be done. Yeah, I heard about that, Ronnie. I don't have full details on it yet, and as soon as I get those, we'll talk about that. There was apparently a fight yesterday. That's what I heard anyway. That's the word that I got, but as I said, no details on it yet, but there was apparently a fight at McComb High. Now, we don't know any details whatsoever, but that is the rumor, that the word on the street, if you will, that is going around, and we're back to the same thing. Because basically, this generation, it seems... I'm not even going to say a majority, but a large portion of that generation is, all id. There's no ego. There's no regulation. It's all, I do what I want and I do it now. Who's going to stop me? And the adults are standing over in the corner arguing over something stupid instead of thumping people on the ear and going, knock it off. Ear thumping has to come back as a recreational activity for adults and parents. No, it's not even recreational. It's necessary. And until it does, we're going to continue to have these same problems. And they keep building and they keep growing. Now, again, part of this goes back to the entire concept of the temperature in the room that I keep talking about. And when we come back, we'll talk about that. I did not sit around last night planning out what I was going to talk about today. And at first, I had no inkling we would be having this discussion. Then I wake up this morning to that news, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's that day. And it is. We will continue this discussion. We've got to talk about the hurricane thingy. We have the agenda for tonight and the McComb City Board. It's a Tuesday, which means they're going to be getting together. It's an actual meeting, not a work session tonight. We'll go down the agenda before we get done. All that and more coming up on a Tuesday morning on SuperTalk, Mississippi, Pike County 93.5. Keep it here.
We're from the country and we like it that way. Dr. Romance for Selman's Jewelers. For 75 years, Selman's has served the wonderful folks of this area with fine quality jewelry, watch, and giftware needs. From natural and lab-grown diamonds to baby goods, silver jewelry, and much more. Selman's Jewelers on Delaware Avenue has worked hard to provide you with quality, service, and value. Come see us today. Layaways and financing available. Selman's since 1945.
Don't miss Dave in the morning, even when you miss it first time. You can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. SuperTalk 93.5 is always the place to be. Wanna get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have to pray. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page.
North Pike football is back. It's another exciting season of North Pike Jaguar football on SuperTalk Mississippi Pike County 93.5. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A, Toyota of Brookhaven, Ag Up, Exhaust Pro, Southwest Mississippi Regional Medical Center, Peterbilt of McComb, and Lot Furniture. It's North Pike Jaguar football on the air at 93.5 FM. Available online at supertalkpikecounty.com and through your Alexa devices.
There's a man who leads a life of danger. Everyone he meets, he stays a stranger. Oh, with every move he makes, another chance he takes. Odds are he won't live to see tomorrow. Secret agent man, secret.
Welcome back. Tuesday morning, Super Talk, Mississippi Pike County 93.5. All right, during the break, I was sent a video of the fight at McComb High yesterday. Part of it went for a minute. And it backs up what I was saying before the break. And it was not a fight in the schoolyard. It was not a fight in the parking lot. It was in classrooms. It was in the hall at the school. This goes back to what I said right before the break. We have become a society that has raised an entire generation to be all id, no ego. If you're not familiar with the psychological terms, id is you just go do what you want. Do whatever makes you happy. Do whatever you feel like doing in the moment. You've heard that movement that is called by many different names over the years. Goes back forever. It was big in the 60s for a while. But unfortunately, we have a generation now who is going down that path that does not have the tools to deal with it. And it's leading to problems. You got... I want you to think back. I want you to think to when you were in school. And I want you to imagine a full-blown brawl. I'm talking 8-10 kids. I mean, fighting, throwing each other around, knocking desks over, holding each other down, and just going to town and pounding. And it just happening and not really being able to get it under control. There would have been a lot of knots on a lot of heads back in my day. I know I'm fully into back in my day, but back in my day, we didn't have this kind of nonsense. Back in my day, nobody called in bomb threats to the school because they didn't want to go take that test today. So I think back in my day is a pretty good comparison to draw. Yes, I know the world is different, which goes back to what I was saying. I've been saying this for a while. It's hopeless that anything is going to change before November in this department. The key is we have to make it change after then. I'm trying to set the table. I'm trying to lay out the place setting so we can get to work as soon as we're able. Part of the problem, not all of the problem, not even a majority of the problem, but part of the problem with the younger generation is what I keep referring to as the temperature in the room. If all they hear is nonstop complaining and screaming and just upset, That's one half of the population versus the other half of the population in America, because as you've seen from polling and everything else and the last few elections, it's pretty well right down the middle. So we got two halves in the country, and they hate each other, and they're vocal about it, and they have protests, and there are assassination attempts, and all this nonsense goes on. What are the kids learning from that? And don't you dare try to claim, well, they're not interested in politics. I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about your kids watching how you act. I'm talking about how they see adults act, and by definition, in their tiny, squishy, unformed brains that are still growing and solidifying, if they see grown-ups doing it, especially if they see a big chunk of grown-ups doing it, well, that's the way you do, right? Kids learn by example. They learn by watching. I mention it all the time, usually just about every time I get on this subject, the country music song, Daddy, I'm Watching You. Okay, so what are the kids seeing you do? Not the things that you're doing specifically for them to see. They're not learning anything from that. That's not the way kids work. That's not the way humans work. When you don't think they're even watching or listening, what are they learning from the way you behave, the way you act on social media, in real life? And then you wonder why they are the way they are. Well, they've had good teachers. That's the temperature in the room effect that I'm talking about. If you turn up the temperature in a room and you are half of the team that is working the thermostat, you don't get to be upset because people start sweating. Another phrase I've used all the time is somebody out of the two groups in America, the Republicans and the ones that are wrong, somebody has to be the adult in the room. We're running short on adults in a lot of ways. And it's bleeding down throughout society. Unless you would like to look me in the eye and argue that kids don't learn from adults, I want you to think back through your life. When you were a kid, I'll bet you can come up with an example of a life lesson that you learned, something that you learned from an adult that wasn't even your parent, because of the way you saw them do something or say something in a store that you happened to be in, or walking down the street, or having a conversation on the sidelines at a football game that you weren't in the conversation. Well, it had nothing to do with you, but you notice, you learned something about how to deal with people, about how to be a better person. Are you teaching that lesson, or are you stomping around being part of the problem? It's my opinion. Like it, don't like it, I don't care. It's just a fact. And yes, it's a both sides problem. Oh, baby, is it a both sides problem. It's everybody. Mo says, Dave, those who participated in the ROTC, 4-H, FFA are much more prepared for the real world than the rest of the generation. It teaches them teamwork. It teaches them leadership skills. And one thing about leadership skills that isn't mentioned very often. Leadership skills, yes, that by definition, by the name of it, you're teaching how to be a leader. You're teaching how to lead other people. But part of leadership skills is also how to be led, how to follow orders, how to take direction, how to allow someone to help you accomplish something. There's two sides to that leadership skills coin. And he mentions ROTC, military in general. Oh, they'll teach you how to follow orders. They'll teach you how to follow the rules, won't they? And it's not by sitting you down for a crisis intervention talk and giving you a coloring sheet to work on. No. You'll go to bed so tired that night, you won't remember your name. couple of nights of that, and all of a sudden you no longer want to engage in whatever behavior they're trying to change. There are solutions to this, but if we don't stop nonstop arguing about things that ultimately in 20 years will have turned out to be unimportant and start focusing on this, there might not be a 20 years from now. You know I don't talk that way. You know I am not the person that sits here saying it's all over, because it's not. It never is. But boy, do we keep trying to push it in that direction. So as we see all of this, as we hear all of these stories about Dexter this morning with the bomb threat, about the big fight at McComb High yesterday, we are reaching a boiling point. Now, we can keep the temperature where it's at and watch it boil over. We can turn the temperature up and make it worse, or we can maybe crank it down just a notch and save the countertop. That's the three choices. And everybody gets to participate in that process. Aren't we lucky? We all get the chance to be a part of it. Anyway, just wanted to point that out from local events over the last 24 hours right here in Southwest Mississippi. Everybody needs to take it down a notch, and let's focus on this nonsense that we're dealing with, that we never seem to stop dealing with. Looking at the hurricane, yes, I am swapping subjects because that's enough of that. It is going to eventually be Hurricane Helene. I say eventually, by tomorrow afternoon, they're saying it's going to be a hurricane. It's shooting the gap between the Yucatan Peninsula and the western tip of Cuba. That's the current forecast path. It's going to come up through there and turn into a hurricane by tomorrow. This thing is going to intensify quickly. Just like Francine, this one, I mean, it's not even a storm now. It's currently still listed by the National Hurricane Center as potential Tropical Cyclone 9. It's not even a real tropical cyclone yet. And by Thursday afternoon, 48 hours from now, they're saying it's going to make landfall in the Big Bend area over in Florida as a Category 3 hurricane. Now, this isn't majorly surprising because the water in the Gulf is, well, warm is not even a good word for it. It's hot. It's been hot for a while. But you deal with the hand you're dealt. So this thing is going to explode in strength. I'm sorry, in 48 hours time, going from not even a depression yet, it'll be a tropical storm, possibly with this next update in half an hour. But it's going to go from that to a Category 3 hurricane in 48 hours. That's why you have to pay attention to these things when it firms up, when we reach the point where we have information. Going to cause some problems. They've already declared a state of emergency in Florida for this. But the good news, the news that's relevant to us is right now, all of the forecast models, all of the predictions have it going to the Big Bend area of Florida, and we won't even see a cloud here in Mississippi, much less trouble. As I said yesterday, I wish no ill will on Florida. Got a good friend of mine who's going to be right in the bullseye for this one when it comes in if it follows the current forecast path. Don't like that. But if it's a choice between us or them, we're picking us. Rather it just go away. That's not an option. So, you have to look after your own, and I'm okay with this not causing us any trouble, and it'll be over quickly. This isn't causing us any trouble because of that cold front that's coming through that's dropping the temperature. Today, a high of 91, tomorrow a high of 85, and a 50% chance of rain. You watch, by the way. You watch. You're going to know immediately that I'm telling you the truth because you've seen it before. It's going to cloud over tomorrow, possibly late this afternoon, and we're going to see some rain. And you're going to see people on social media start saying, is this the hurricane? Is this part of that storm? You know they will. Happens every time. No, it is not. This is the front that is kind of helping to ensure that we don't have to deal with the hurricane. Because as this cold front goes across, that leading edge of the front is just going to draw it right up there. We don't have to worry about it. Hopefully the front won't stall, because then we got a different problem. But I think we're in good shape there. It's not really much out there, and there's a high-pressure system behind this cold front driving it forward. So I think we're in good shape there. There's good, there's bad. In this case, it's kind of all good for us. So not going to complain too loudly. Keep the folks down in Florida in your thought, the Big Bend area. I got a question for you about that, by the way. I first heard the term the Big Bend area of Florida late last year. That doesn't mean it hadn't been used, but as you know, you and I have talked about this many times, I've been tracking storms forever on the air. I've been dealing with these things for 40 years. I have kept up with a lot of coverage. How is it just recently I heard of that area referred to as the Big Bend area? I mean, that's what it is. It is as close to a perfect regional name as I've seen. You tell somebody the Big Bend area of Florida and they can picture it. They know what you're talking about on a map. That's great. Beats the heck out of the landmass between Alabama and Louisiana. When did that name come up? When's the first time you heard the name, the Big Bend area of Florida? Because up until fairly recently, I had never heard that before. I love it. It's great. This isn't a complaint. But everybody is using it like it's always been used, and maybe I just missed it all this time. Maybe my eyes have been glazing over looking at stuff and I didn't catch it. Maybe. I don't know. But I had never heard that referred to as the Big Bend area of Florida. I mean, we're going to keep it. I like it. It's perfect. But that was always referred to the Panhandle or the Eastern Panhandle. Occasionally you would hear somebody, I think I've done this before in the past. I've heard other people do this as well. It's going to make landfall right in the area where Florida takes a turn to the south to become a peninsula. Yeah, okay. Descriptive. Makes sense. Now it's the Big Bend. So that's where it's going. I got people that I love down there. I got people that I care about down there. And I hope they're okay with it because, well, I ain't taking that for them.
This is why I don't leave the house.
Absolutely nothing personal. Got several friends down in Florida.
Why? This is why.
Hate it for them. We're going to have a nice weekend, though. So when we come back, we have the agenda for tonight's meeting of the McComb City Board of Mayor and Selectmen, and we're going to take a peek at that when we come back on SuperTalk, Mississippi Pike County 93.5.
We're from the country and we like it that way. Dr. Romance for Selman's Jewelers. For 75 years, Selman's has served the wonderful folks of this area with fine quality jewelry, watch, and giftware needs. From natural and lab-grown diamonds to baby goods, silver jewelry, and much more. Selman's Jewelers on Delaware Avenue has worked hard to provide you with quality, service, and value. Come see us today. Layaways and financing available. Selman's since 1945.
Don't escape in the morning. Even when you miss it the first time, you can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. SuperTalk 93.5 is always the place to be. Want to get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key.
weekday mornings at 6 after 9 on 93.5 FM, or you can catch up anytime by going to
SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Dave in the Morning at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. Catch up and catch on. North Pike football is back. It's another exciting season of North Pike Jaguar football on SuperTalk Mississippi Pike County 93.5. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A, Toyota of Brookhaven, Ag Up, Exhaust Pro, Southwest Mississippi Regional Medical Center, Peterbilt of McComb, and Lot Furniture. It's North Pike Jaguar football on the air at 93.5 FM. Available online at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com and through your Alexa devices. Tuesday morning. Nothing like having 6 days between you and a Monday. We'll take it every time. Welcome back. I've got the agenda for tonight's meeting of the McComb City Board of Mayor and Selectmen. We're going to take a look at right now and just run through the entire thing. As agendas go, kind of compact. We'll go with that word. 13 items on the agenda, and that does count the consent docket. The consent docket approves of the minutes, consists of the minutes of 3 meetings for approval. The meeting from July 23rd, August 13th, and August 27th. And we won't get any more minutes approvals for a while because reasons. I don't know. It's the way we're doing it now. Item D is the claims docket, which is always interesting. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, it was $1.5 million. Well, this time around, $1,303,103. You know, if you have 24 meetings a year and you drop $1 million at each one on average, you're spending money. Spending money is not your problem. Well, it is. The lack of money to make the checks clear is a potential problem. But we have been assured by the person who last year looked at everyone with a straight face and assured us that sales tax revenues were up 50% year over year, and it turned out they were up a little less than 5%. That level of mathematical virtuosity has assured us we have plenty of money and everything's fine. Nothing to see here, folks. Move along. Moving down to the main... we will have this discussion again. You know that. Moving on to the main part of the agenda, item number 2, approving a payment to Sybil Winborn, Planning Commission member, for attending the Preservation Boot Camp at the Mississippi Department of Archives and History. Number 3, Neil Schaefer, authorizing them to do some engineering. They're going to do engineering at the Railroad Crossing Elimination and Reconnecting Communities Pilot Grant Program. That's the name of that grant program. Pretty well leaves few questions as to what it's about. The Railroad Crossing Elimination and Reconnecting Communities Pilot Grant. And it's literally, the wrong side of the tracks, the right side of the tracks. My mother has stories she can tell growing up in East McComb. There were 2 McCombs, East McComb and West McComb, divided along the railroad tracks. That's kind of some of the impetus of what they're talking about here. Item number 4, consider adopting a resolution supporting the application for a Reconnecting Community Pilot Grant Program. Same thing. And it's just a resolution supporting it. This is going to be a vote from the board saying, yeah, let's try for it. I think you would have to. It's free money. Well, as free as money gets. Somebody wanting to put some money into McComb? Yeah, I'm in. Number 5, approving the City of McComb Police Department donating a 2016 Chevy Tahoe to the Centerville Police Department due to excessive repair costs for the City of McComb. I'll just bet. It's an 8-year-old vehicle. It's an 8-year-old Tahoe that I can guarantee you, I have no idea, but I can guarantee you your eyes would water at the number of miles on that thing by now. So, yeah, it's going to cost more to fix it than it would to, just get a new one, basically. But at the same time, you've got Centerville. Their opinion is, hey, is it still running? We need it. We could use it, so just going to donate it to them. Functionally, a very good idea. This is something that's done on a regular basis and should be done. Sometimes it's better to cut your losses. It's not even losses. We got our money's worth out of this vehicle over the last 8 years. We just don't need to keep pouring money into it. And if it can help somebody else, this is a win all the way around. Number 6, consider approving the closure of the 26th Street extension. There will be shrieking involved over this item. I'm not guessing. There will be shrieking involved over this item. We'll see. We'll have the audio tomorrow, as we always do, but just go ahead and brace up for that one. Number 7, approving an agreement between the City of McComb and Schmidt Sweeping and Lawn Services. Flower bed maintenance and landscaping services. $3,550 per month. We need that. This goes back to what we talked about a week or two ago. That one of the biggest issues we have in McComb is McComb has a perception problem. It doesn't look like someplace somebody wants to stay. If that hurts your feelings, good. Maybe you'll get so upset you'll do something about it. Drive through downtown Brookhaven. Drive through downtown Columbia. And then drive through downtown McComb and rate them. Rank them. Solely by appearance. Nothing else. Just the way it looks. Rank them. Let me know how that comes out. We have an appearance. We have a perception problem. We have to fix it. This is a step towards fixing that, I think. As long as the job is done well and we keep this stuff up, that's part of it. It's been talked about forever in Summit. One of the things that really helps Summit, heck, ride down Robb Street in Summit. It's another great comparison. They have those planters on the sidewalks with the beautiful flowers and everything put together just wonderfully. It looks great. It's inviting. It's beautiful. Those little details are possibly the most important thing you can do if you're trying to attract people and look inviting and look like someplace that people want to stay and raise their family. So yes, I'm on board with this. Item number 8, approving an invoice from Infomark. It's time to pay Infomark's bills again. $91,607 every month. Little coming back. Gotta like this. Got into the conversation about doing the flower bed maintenance and landscaping with Schmidt Sweeping and Lawn Service. They made a $250 donation to the City of McComb Breast Cancer Awareness Fund. Very nice. Very nice. Number 10. Consider transferring $451,684 from the Water Sewer Revenue account to the City of McComb Trust account to reimburse the trust account for monthly capital improvement transfers for basically a year, from February 2023 to January of this year. So that's a year's worth. And this is proper. This is the way it works. The trust fund pays the bills out. Can't write checks out of the water sewer fund. So the trust fund pays the bills, and then the water sewer fund reimburses the trust fund for those bills it paid on behalf of the water and sewer service. It's proper. That's fine. Just throwing it out there, what the amount is. Number 11, consider receiving a bid tabulation for the Delaware Avenue improvements. And award the contract to Greenbrier DSLP out of Brookhaven. I just want to say, and it's for a good cause. This is not a complaint. That will come later. You think you're aggravated by the interstate construction, but it's for a good cause. It's something that's desperately needed. So we're going to keep the complaining and the griping to a minimum. It's a necessary evil. We got to deal with it. But you think you've grumbled behind the wheel of your car getting on the interstate. Wait until they crank up the Delaware Avenue Improvement Project. But just remember, it is something that is needed. It's desperately needed. It's been needed for a while. So we should be applauding it. Number 12, approving an invoice from Cox Architecture for the McComb Railroad Depot reconstruction, $4,837.50. And number 13, approving the interest payment on the City of McComb's 2019 GO Bond. The interest payment in the amount of $16,782.50. In the announcements, I noticed, and I told you about the donation just a second ago, I notice that they have a notice in there, an announcement saying that Breast Cancer Awareness Month begins on October 1st. Big fan of breast cancer awareness, something we need to pay attention to. I would like to remind you, prostate cancer kills more people than breast cancer. That month is in November. I'll eagerly await the proclamations for that. It's not going to happen. You know why? Well, you get right down to it. Chest area is going to beat the hind end in the vote every time.
If you cry out for more, if you reached out for me,
And we're back to my discussion about McComb having a perception problem. Right? Kind of the same thing there. Final break. We're going to come back, wrap it up, and shut it down for a Tuesday right after this on SuperTalk, Mississippi, Pike County 93.5. Keep it here.
let me take a step towards you. Let me feel you in my hands. Let me cross this line and show you where it leads. There's a darkness down inside me that I know we'll both enjoy, and it's screaming from within to set it free. I have left this flying nightmare in my wakeful out of sight. I want this deviation by design.
We're from the country and we like it that way. Dr. Romance for Selman's Jewelers. For 75 years, Selman's has served the wonderful folks of this area with fine quality jewelry, watch, and giftware needs. From natural and lab-grown diamonds to baby goods, silver jewelry, and much more. Selman's Jewelers on Delaware Avenue has worked hard to provide you with quality, service, and value. Come see us today. Layaways and financing available. Selman's since 1945.
North Pike football is back. It's another exciting season of North Pike Jaguar football on SuperTalk, Mississippi, Pike County 93.5. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A, Toyota of Brookhaven, Ag Up, Exhaust Pro, Southwest Mississippi Regional Medical Center, Peterbilt of McComb, and Lot Furniture. It's North Pike Jaguar football on the air at 93.5 FM. Available online at supertalkpikecounty.com and through your Alexa devices.
Don't miss Dave in the morning. Even when you miss it the first time, you can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. Super Talk 93.5 is always the place to be. Want to get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have the crave. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Dave Hughes here. Remember, every weekday morning at 9:06, it's Dave in the Morning, where we solve the problems of the world, or at least complain about them really loudly and sarcastically. And if you miss out, you can catch up with the podcast version of Dave in the Morning at supertalkpikecounty.com.
closing time. Open all the doors and let you out into the world. Closing
Final thought here. There's been a fight going on in Washington you may not have been aware of, but it's moving in the right direction, I think. The AM for Every Vehicle Act, it's moved out of committee in Congress, has 260 co-sponsors. Let me explain the situation here. New car makers, as we go to more and more advanced things, are trying to do away with AM radio, just not having AM radio in the vehicles. Well, the argument out of Congress, which has some merit, is that that is a vital part of the warning system in America. You just make it to where all of a sudden people can't receive a lot of things, and, well, you've got a problem then. So that is mainly electric vehicles, by the way. There's some interference that happens. There are some problems that go along with having an AM radio in an electric vehicle. So they've just been kind of trying to quietly do away with that. As someone who started over 40 years ago on AM radio, playing, and I'm not even making this up, okay? This is going to sound like a joke. This is going to sound like something I'm throwing out just to exaggerate. Honest to goodness truth, my first ever job in radio was working the night shift in McComb from 6 till 10, playing big band music off of 78 RPM vinyl. I am familiar with AM radio. Love AM radio. Love radio in general. That's why I'm sitting here. I could have a paper route, but no, I'm sitting here and you and I get to talk every morning because I love it. I love that idea. I love the concept. I will say this, sooner or later, it's probably going to go a different way, but for now, it is not, and I am fine with that. So just wanted to give you that update on something you probably didn't know existed. Also, the owners of Motel 6 have sold the chain, the whole thing. They have sold it to Oravel Stays, which is the company that runs the Oyo brand of hotels. So Motel 6, I guess moving forward, may or may not still be leaving the light on for you. I don't know, at this point, it's a budget discussion. Can we afford the bulbs? We'll see. Have a wonderful day. Be safe out there. As always, my permanent advice to you, don't do anything stupid. Or at the very least, try to limit the number of stupid things you do. I think I've already hit my limit for today, so I understand. Have a great day. We'll do this again tomorrow morning at 9:06. My friend, see you then.
SuperTalk Mississippi Media Production.